Welcome to the ThunderCast, your martial athletics podcast produced by the fans, for the fans, with your hosts, Russ Livingood and KD Hudnall. We're bringing you the thundering word on the thundering herd each and every week, so keep it right here. The ThunderCast is on the loose. Thanks for downloading another episode of the ThunderCast. You follow us on Twitter at ThunderCast_pod, and you can find us on Instagram at ThunderCast_pod as well. Head on over and like us on Facebook. Please go to the YouTube channel and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss any of that YouTube exclusive content. Russ, the position group breakdown series culminated last week. If fans only got some of that, I highly encourage you to go back and listen to all of those episodes so you can really get an in-depth knowledge of the roster and where some of those position battles are going within each individual unit, or who we think may rise out of the pack, so to speak. But that was a really great series, and it's going to further culminate this week as we are just a week away episode-wise. It's this one, and then we're doing a week one preview. So this is season predictions, Russ. I know you're excited about this. Of course, we also have 5 things we're going to go around the herd, and we got some great info for you that's going to be included in those 5 things that people have been talking about. So let's get into it. Let's first get us a quick word from our sponsors at 304carwreck.com. If you've been hurt in a wreck, visit 304carwreck.com on the web or on Facebook. Matt and Jason are experienced injury lawyers in Huntington who have helped many people, just like you, with claims throughout West Virginia, Ohio, and Kentucky. Car wrecks, truck wrecks, and injury claims aren't just something they do, it's what they do. Find them at 304carwreck.com. Okay, Russ, we've got 5 things that we've got to talk about. The athletic season is underway, and Marshall is out of the gate rolling. So give me 5 things every herd fan needs to know this week.
And it is a true 5 things every herd fan needs to know this week, as usual, brought to you by IgniteLink, the Tri-State's premier IT management team. Number 1, herd fuel station in the John Marshall room. Now, we had talked ever so briefly about this because it was mentioned in the notes of one of those Board of Governors meetings 2 quarters ago, maybe 1 quarter ago. And I couldn't bring up all the information that was discussed because it was discussed on the Big Green Foundation board meeting. But now we can talk about it because it's up, it's live. Monday, August 21st was the first day of it, and now we can talk about it. It's been posted.
Yeah, this is a great thing because it provides a healthier set of eating options for not just our athletes, but also all students. And it's upstairs in the student center, in the what is it, Don Morris room? I think is John Marshall room. That's right, John Marshall room. So just a new set of options. So if you're in that healthier lifestyle, you want to eat a little cleaner, and you want good quality food going into your body, then now on campus, you can get that. You're not just reduced to, fatty foods and bad foods, fast foods. You can actually have some healthier options. And from an athletic standpoint, man, that's huge. Being able to fuel your body the right way, that's going to go a long way into helping all of our student athletes. I think this is a tremendous addition to the arsenal, so to speak, the amenities at Marshall University, because it's not just limited to our athletes. And I think that is the best part about it. So this is a super cool thing.
Yeah. And it's not just football. It is all athletes. And as you mentioned, it's not all student athletes. It's all students, highly important. They have a nutritionist that was behind a lot of this. She's quoted in the article. You can read this article on herdzone.com or on the HerdZone app, tell you all the ins and outs. But they're talking about getting lean proteins in there. They're talking about larger plates. So think of a student athlete, getting a plate of food for someone that's a 330-pound offensive lineman is not the same as me or you getting a full plate. Now, I'll put myself up against just about anybody eating. But these athletes need a lot more protein than I need. They need healthy vegetables and fruits for energy. So they're getting good complex carbs, getting good lean proteins, a balanced breakfast and lunch. And that's the thing too, this was previously only open for lunch for certain hours, and now it is open in the mornings, and it is open, there's a 30-minute window there where they switch over from breakfast to lunch. So basically you can take care of any student athlete or any student that wants to do it. It's part of the meal plan, and then if there's a balance you can pay the balance, and any of the student athletes, the balance just gets billed back to the athletic department. So that's a great place for these guys to get two of their likely 4+ meals that they're going to be having during the day, meals and snacks, to maintain their proper nutrition that they need to compete.
Yep. I would go so far as to call this a differentiator, Russ. I really
Yep.
would, because we know a lot about the dieting habits in our regions where we're from, and they're not the
Yep.
greatest. We all love that comfort food, and that comfort food is not generally the most healthy. I miss it like crazy being all the way down here, in Florida. I don't get that. My mom just can't bounce over and make something that I love to eat. So
Yeah.
it is great for folks that don't want to be tied to those type of meals, that they can really have more control over what they're putting into their bodies. Not just athletes, but if you're trying to make a positive change, now it's a little bit easier for you to do that. Just home run thing to roll out here at Marshall.
Well, Coach Huff mentioned it when he was here on the podcast before, and he was
Hmm.
talking about nutrition and what our athletes are putting into their bodies and things like that. And he said we've got to have some kind of food table. We've got to have something to where they can have better choices to eat and everything. So they're not just going over and hitting up fast food to get some of their meals in and stuff like that. And it being part of the meal plan is just, that's what makes it big.
Hmm.
They don't have to worry. How often have you seen, you can go, and I'll throw out McDonald's. You can go there and you can get a very cheap cheeseburger, or you can get a meal cheaper than you could get a healthy salad
Of
there.
course.
A bottle of water costs more than a sugary drink, and almost the same as a milkshake. So it's those choices that you say, well, I want to save money, so I'll eat what costs them less, but it's worse for me. Well, they don't have to do that here. They can eat good foods, do what's maximum performance for them, and they don't have to worry about the cost.
Hmm. I agree, man. It's just a great thing.
All right, so number two, we have the Sun Belt Conference officially brings back swim and dive. We had talked about this way before we even went into the Sun Belt.
Yep.
Before that 7/1/2022 date, we talked about this. We speculated where they might go. If you remember, we had an
Sure.
entire little segment where we talked about that. They ended up going to the Missouri Valley Conference. They went there for 1 year. Now swim and dive is back in the Sun Belt Conference, with 4 teams starting off right now.
Yeah, 4 teams total, not a total of 5, including Marshall, but 4 total teams, and it's great. Now everybody's all under the same roof.
Yep.
All of Herd Athletics is under the Sun Belt moniker, and I mean that's really where you want to be. But I'm going to tell you this: you want to raise some freaking money for swim and dive? Sell the freaking towels, man. People will
Yeah.
buy those things. Mr. Spears, I love you. I know you're listening. Sell the towels to fans. Like
Yep.
that's a t-shirt is one thing. Great. Like if you want a shirt that says Marshall Swim and Dive, awesome. Buy that. But
Yeah.
more people will, you know what? I would buy a towel because I live in beach country. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's something that I can throw down on the beach and like display another way to display my love for the Herd. Sell me the towel, man.
Yeah,
Sell it.
I would. I know for a fact our family would buy them for beach towels.
Yeah.
Now I hate to give up my Batman towel. I really do. I may still take it, but I would totally rock a Marshall script towel
Yes.
in Kelly Green.
And I'm going to take it a step further. I've talked about this before. They weren't in any of those recent pictures that were out, but they have these like I don't know. They look like a hockey jersey almost. They're a big, really big, kind of bulky jersey looking thing, and it's got the script Marshall. And those things look really sweet too. And you have to forgive me. I don't know what the technical word is for those. I mean, they might call it a jersey, but make those available, guys. This is easy ways to make money for these programs because these are unique items that we're not selling and fans
Yeah,
want. They will pay you $30, $35 for a towel. because it looks cool, man. They'll pay you $50 for one of those cool oversized jersey looking things because they look cool. And think about that. If somebody buys a couple of towels and one of those jerseys, that's well over $100. And a lot of that money is going to go straight to the swim and dive program, of course, minus costs, but excellent fundraiser. Excellent. It's a no brainer to me.
Yeah. And I mean, think of how many of our fan bases live in those beach or pool climates that
Yeah.
are year round, that have moved down south, and they how often do you run into someone wearing gear from down there at those things? I can't go to Myrtle Beach. I went down there for the bowl game. I couldn't go down there without passing decals and flags on cars. Now, I know people were down there for the bowl, but there were people that lived down there year round, and they would definitely rock a towel.
Yep, for sure.
I know they would.
For sure.
All right, so number 3, the soccer teams. This is both of them were named Team Academic Award winners by the United Soccer Coaches. That makes them one of 182 schools to have both programs named, and there were over 800 schools total, so like easily 400 institutions, and we were one of the 182 to get a 3.0 on both of them.
I think that's pretty cool. Obviously, we like it when our teams are achieving academically, but I'm going to say this tongue in cheek because, we were talking to Coach Ari and you mentioned the GPA and she was like
3.35.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not too excited about that.
Yeah, need it higher.
God love her. I can dig that, right? I can dig that. She's like, yeah, we need to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this game, but
yeah,
she's I just love that because anyway, 3.0 is great, right? I mean, I look around and I say, I didn't graduate Marshall with a 3.0. I was nipping at the heels, but I didn't get there. I would have loved to have had a 3 in front of the decimal point, but this is still cool because it's 182, one of 182 schools that met this threshold out of over 800 schools involved. I mean,
800 teams over 400 schools.
400 schools.
Yeah.
So still, that's less than 50%.
Sure.
Okay, so that's still really, really good to me. If you're on the top half of anything, you're better than average, obviously. So we're above average in these things. If the criteria were a little higher, if it were, I don't know what our GPAs were, I can't remember, but what if it was like one of over 3.25 or 3.3? That number is obviously going to dwindle down.
Am I misremembering that swim and dive finished number 1 in the nation? Was it?
Yeah, but we're talking about tennis? Soccer.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
still,
I do not remember what the soccer GPAs.
Yeah. Still, I'm saying like there are probably many schools that landed right at 3.0 or 3.01. Right. So if we're at 3.2 or 3.3 or higher for both, then that's even fewer schools that we're associated with, which I think is just phenomenal.
Yeah, it would be nice to see those rankings to see if we were like 150th, 100th, whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
But no matter what, and even though we're talking about soccer, my head went to swim and dive because I was still talking about the towels. And
he wants a towel. Sell him a towel.
Just give me one, man. I'm good for it. Number 4, Coach Michael Swan, speaking of soccer, not swim and dive, notched his 150th career victory with the victory at home that we'll talk about more in Around the Herd.
Yep. Congratulations to Coach Swan. We had a pretty decent season last year, and we knew there was a lot of movement. We use that term movement as it relates to, the roster. There was a lot of movement in the women's soccer roster heading into this season. So far, so good. Like you said, we'll talk about it more in a little bit, but it's a great accolade for him. Reaching that 150 win mark. So let's just keep on rolling. Let's see if we can get him up to I don't know how many games they play total in the season, right?
It's it's less than 15, I think. It's
wow.
Right. I think it's right around the 15 mark or something like that. I don't know, 15 to 20, somewhere around there.
So we're shooting to get Coach Swan over 162 victories. That I don't know what the number is, but let's go with 12 more at least. So we're looking to fall between 162 and 170, let's say. But killer accolade. Congratulations to Coach Swan.
Yeah, and I was in those numbers. I was trying to count what a potential Sunbelt run,
Right.
and
Yeah.
then all that. But I think it's less than 15 for your regular season. All right, so number 5. This is going to be a little teaser thing that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about this a lot more in depth next week, but it hit our timelines. It hit our people talking about parking and tailgating and that sort of thing, and that they might not have any kind of guide or whatever to tell everybody about that. So we wanted to touch on it a little bit. One, you can go to Herd Zone and you can go over to the fans first section, game day experience, click football, down in the P's, parking central. There may be a better way to navigate to get to that, but I can tell you can go there.
Yeah.
It's in alphabetical order on the game day experience for football. Uh, P for parking. And it will have the parking map. It will show you how much it costs for each lot. It'll show you if that lot is sold out, what a donation would have to be to get into that lot. And that's just the marshal. Obviously, they're not going to tell you about surrounding businesses. So that's where we come in.
Yeah.
Uh, we will have a guide up within the next week as on thundercast.online, our website. And we have a visitor's guide for fans, but local fans that might be looking for a spot, we'll have info for you there as well. So you want to touch on that, and then I'll finish up my thoughts on it.
Sure. The first thing I'm going to say is this tells me a lot of folks aren't subscribed to the ThunderCast because we talk about this a lot. We talk about where to go to find tickets, your first, second, and third places to go find tickets. We've talked numerous times about where we personally will be tailgating and have our setup being set up. But there's other stuff that will hit more, like the local businesses that are right around the Joan that offer parking, and some you have to buy ahead of time, but are probably sold out. But there's first come first serve lots that are game day only, and then there's also ancillary auxiliary marshal lots that are farther away from the stadium.
Yep.
And I'm thinking like up on 6th Avenue across from I think it's maybe a set of dorms or something up there. I parked there once before and it was like $5, but they don't allow tailgating. But if you've got another tailgate you're going to, go up there and park and walk 3 blocks to the stadium for $5, or it might
Yeah.
be 10 now. I don't know, but
Sure.
it's cheaper is what I'm saying.
And those are covered on this map that is
Yeah.
on the Herd Zone website. You will be able to see a color coded map of the different parking spots. And sometimes it even gives you a description, like, for instance, I can't remember exactly what they call the lot, but it says spots 1 through 50 are behind CVS and 51 through whatever is behind Domino's, whatever it says. It has a descriptor of where
Yeah.
these spots are.
Right.
So go there. This is a little teaser. We're going to have a lot more info about where and sometimes how much money and that sort of thing. We'll talk about it a little bit more next week, but it'll also be up on the website, thundercast.online.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to finish this thought about is if you have a tailgate and it is Marshall fan friendly, not just people that you normally tailgate with, but you're accepting of anybody running around looking for a tailgate spot, or opposing fans coming in. You say, oh, sure, they can come by mine. Reach out to us either on Twitter, Facebook, send us a DM on either one. Uh, Comment here on YouTube. Let us know where you tailgate, what spot it's in, how they can find you, and we'll make sure to put that out both on our visitors guide and when we talk about it and say, here's a spot you can go to if you're coming in from out of state and want to find somebody to tailgate with.
Yeah, I should say that first and foremost, the ThunderCast tailgates are always opposing fan friendly and always Marshall fan friendly. And we're family day. You got kids, bring them over.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? Some people that are there, you might hear a cuss word. Well, you're going to hear a cuss word anywhere. It's game day. People are going to get a little rowdy. But Russ has kids. He generally brings them to games and stuff from time to time. But you've always got a soft place to land and hang out and chill. And we're right behind the end zone, so it's going to make it really easy. It's really convenient. But we'll have this will be a full segment next week. We'll do the week 1 preview for the game, the season opener, and we're going to talk about all that stuff too. But we're going to talk about where to buy tickets, when you can buy tickets. The parking map will have displayed when we're talking about that kind of stuff. And, and we'll try to gather some other like first come, first serve areas so that you'll know. But we want to get you informed. So I'm telling you this, guys. You've got to share the links to our show with your friends. The people that are texting you saying, where can I park? Where do I go? Those are the people you need to say, you know what? You need to follow the ThunderCast on social media. You need to be subscribed to their podcast because they talk about this stuff. They're going to give you all that info because we're here to help. We want nothing more than every ass in every seat at every arena we have. So
they're going to have opportunities. They're going to have opportunities for free tickets.
Yeah, that's true.
We're going to talk about that more in Around the Herd. But we give away tickets to every ticketed sporting event for Marshall Athletics across all sports.
Yep.
So real quick about where we're located, the corner of 4th Avenue, which most people refer to as the alley behind the stadium where the new video board is being put up. 4th Avenue and 21st Street. So right at McDonald's is right across the street. We're in that very corner of that parking lot where the church used to be. That's why it's called the C lot. It used to be the church lot. We have 5 spots with us and some people that are tailgating there with us all year. So we will have 5 spots there in that corner. You will not be able to miss us. We are in the very corner.
Yep, that's right. We want you to come by and have a good time. So feel free to come by and hang out and talk a little herd ball with us. Russ, an exceptional 5 things this week. The athletic year is underway. We're going to touch on what has already happened in Around the Herd in a little bit, and we're going to talk about what's coming up. But for right now, dude, let's talk about football season predictions. We gave everybody the lowdown on every position group as best as we could. And I'll be honest with you, I think this was not just the best breakdown series we've ever had because there was 2 we did last year, but this is probably the best one I've ever done in all of my years of podcasting. It was just really, really informative. They're all up on, Spotify or your favorite audio platform. They're all up on the YouTube channel. So you can watch all of them if you missed one. But let's talk about the season prediction. Now, we're not going to go game by game individually, but we're going to talk about the schedule as a whole. We're going to give our floor, our ceiling, and then we're going to talk through some things. So let me give some general things about the schedule so everybody knows. We've got 14 possible games. That would include making it to the Sun Belt Championship game and a bowl game. So 12 guaranteed, 14 possible. 6 home, 6 away through the regular season. 11 of 12 are Saturday games. The only outlier, of course, is the Sun Belt midweek, which we are all experiencing. And Marshall doesn't really go on the road, for more than 2 games. We have a couple of 2-game stretches, but it's pretty even. There's no big away, road swing. There's no huge homestand. So everything's pretty even. In the crossovers with the West Division, we kind of got a mixed bag. We got one really tough game and one we view as far more winnable with South Alabama taking a trip to South Alabama and then Arkansas State for the finale. So we open on the road, or we open at home and we close at home. Russ, we've got an early bye week in week 3, which is not very favorable because that means you're going to have to rip off 10 straight, potentially 12 straight games if you have a special season. So where do you want to begin? What do you want to tackle first as we, navigate through the schedule?
I'd like to weigh in on the schedule as a whole
and
just say that the early bye week does put us slightly at a disadvantage, especially because later in the year, we have a 3 out of 4 game stretch that is not only away games, but you've got App, Coastal, and South Alabama. 3 of those 4 games all on the road in 4 weeks. We're going to face 3 really good teams that have all been picked to be equal or better than us in the standings in the East and the West.
Yeah, it is. Those 3 you mentioned are considered contenders in the conference, like to win it, not just their division, but they can be contenders to win the conference as a whole. But I will say this, if you'll remember, we were staring down the barrel of a week 1 bye.
I remember.
I mean, I know you remember. I'm talking to the fans. So while a week 3 bye is not ideal, a week 1 bye would have been utterly catastrophic for trying to put together a season where everybody stays relatively healthy. Yeah, everybody would love to have that week 5 or week 6 bye, but that's kind of like, the golden ticket. If you get that, you get a mid-season break to recover, and you really need that. But it's not that bad. We get our bye week, and then we've got Virginia Tech coming to town. So, if you look at it in those terms, Marshall's going to have 2 weeks to get ready for them, if that's the way you look at it.
Yeah.
So let's talk. Let's just not go straight into like your predictions and the floor and the ceiling. Let's break this down by quarters, so to speak.
Okay.
The first quarter of the schedule and so forth. So the first 4, you've got Albany at East Carolina. You got a bye week. You've got home game against Virginia Tech, and then it's homecoming. First September homecoming I can remember in like forever. I'd say since I've been a fan, they've always been in October as far as I can remember. So the first 4 games, the first quarter of the season, if you will, encompassing 5 weeks. So what do you like about that?
Quarters 4, man.
I know 4 games, but it encompasses a bye week. So a quarter of the season is 4 out of 12 games. That's what I'm saying.
No, it's not. That's 33%.
Oh, well, yeah, I know. It's the only mistake I'll ever make.
so anyway, let's do it in thirds.
Yeah, let's do it in thirds.
All right, so those 4.
Wait a minute. I love how people are like, these idiots. How the hell are they got it? They give them microphones to talk into.
Well, I don't know. I didn't get a 3.0, but I at least know.
I didn't see. You can see why now. I did get an A in math though, but I only took 1 math class.
So you've got Albany, and then you've got ECU away.
Yeah.
You've got Virginia Tech, and then what's the game right after that?
It's Old Dominion for homecoming.
Old Dominion homecoming. All right, so you've got 2 home and or 3 home, 1 away. That 1 away game, I would feel a lot better about it if it was home. Obviously, you always feel better about not having to go on the road. But I think that those first 4 games, especially if you beat Virginia Tech, who admittedly is not the Virginia Tech of the 90s. It's not the Virginia Tech of the early 2000s. I think that would put us in a very good spot going into those next 4 games for the next third of this. It is a winnable 4 games. But I don't know. That bye week being in there that early and everything, that's the part I don't like, but can't do anything about it. You just got to play the games.
Well, actually, we did do something about it. That's the thing. You know what I mean? We made it a little better, but now it's set in stone. You can't move it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Now you can't do anything about it. You've got, it is when it is. You play 2 early games, and then you got the bye. Yeah, it helps you with Virginia Tech, but I would much rather have that to prep for NC State, for instance. So I think what we do in these first 4 games is really going to set the tone for the season.
Well, I would agree, but the caveat to that is it's only 1 conference game. So it sets a tone, but it doesn't derail you from, a potential Sun Belt Conference championship run, right? And we don't think Albany is going to be some giant killer, and like, no disrespect. Anything we talk about, we're not disrespecting the team, right? At any of the teams we're talking about, but we don't expect them to march into Huntington and be a giant killer. So I look at that East Carolina game and I think, all right, how much is Marshall really going to show against Albany? Probably not a whole lot. And that's also a game where you can potentially work on some things to be better prepared for East Carolina. So really, if you look at it in those terms, you can't call it a bye week because it's a game, right? And things can still go wrong. But you're going to tune up a little bit more and fine tune some things to go to East Carolina and improve your chances for victory, just like you're going to utilize a bye week to get some things right for Virginia Tech. So if you look at it like that, Marshall's really got a really good opportunity to go in there and get a win at East Carolina. And I'll tell you this, East Carolina is picked 6th in the preseason American poll without a single first place vote. Right. So some first year teams, actually 1 first year team coming over from Conference USA is actually ranked ahead of East Carolina in the preseason poll, and that's Florida Atlantic. So the top 4 teams received at least one first place vote. Florida Atlantic was the first one that did not, and East Carolina falls behind them. Okay, those games are always tough. Like, we had them here a couple of years ago, and they had a 14-point comeback, and that was rough. That was hard to sit through. But I just don't feel like it's that way right now. So I really like Marshall to potentially be 4-0 out of the gate here. I don't.
I do too. ESPN FPI has that game, East Carolina, that you're talking about, though, has the ECU as a 52.6% favorite over us. And a lot of that is because it's a home game for them. You know how it is. So it's like they've got it as a toss up, but they give them the nod right now. And these change throughout the year. They change every week that both teams play. The predictor changes. Famously, last year we were 9% chance, I think, to beat Notre Dame, and then even up leading up to the game, it can change. But they have us basically as a toss up going down there to ECU, and ECU having the advantage because they're at home.
Yeah. So, well, and not only are they at home, it's their home opener as well, because in week 1, or their first game, it's week 1 for them, they are on the road against Michigan. So that makes you wonder, like, man, will they be able to come out of that game relatively unscathed against a Michigan Wolverines team that a lot of people are putting in the playoff already, and think they may compete for that national championship before a snap has even played. So I guess if you got to worry about one, you're going to worry about Virginia Tech because everybody's been talking about it and you want to win that one. And it's Power 5, blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. And we've been close to beating them several times. We just couldn't get it done. But you just can't look past Old Dominion either, because that's the first one that really, truly matters. And it's homecoming. So I do like the Herd to come out of the gate 4-0, though. I do. I feel like they're onto something here as long as we don't see a catastrophic like we saw heading into week 1 last year. Of course, all of this discussion is under the precursor that everybody is staying healthy, relatively healthy, right? So let's talk about the next few, Russ. Now you're talking about NC State on the road for a couple, NC State at Georgia State, and then we'll stop with the midweek at at home against James Madison. That's a good place to make a break.
All right, still not a true third, though.
Not a third, no.
Just wanted to clarify for math purposes.
Yeah. No, I'm off my bullshit now. I got it right.
So NC State on the road is going to be our toughest game of the year. I don't think anybody is going to argue that. Now, could we end up having a tougher one? Yes, but preseason on paper, it is the toughest. It's going to be hard to win down there. They are a very good team.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're right in for the playoff right now team, but they are historically a really good team. They're pretty good at NC State. Georgia State on the road depends on what we do against NC State and how healthy we are. How well our offense is playing. But I like us to win that game. JMU at home, I like us to win that one. JMU is tough. I feel like they're going to be tough, but they had some losses, particularly at quarterback and things like that, that I think that we won't really know what kind of JMU team this is until us and them have about 4 games under our belts each.
Yeah. That's a fair assessment. I look at NC State, and I've got to mention they were also picked preseason 4th in the ACC behind Clemson, Florida State, and North Carolina. So that's 3 really good teams from a year ago, and NC State was a good team a year ago. So you don't think that they're going to just fall off a cliff, right? Now, they did lose Tim Beck, who was their offensive coordinator. He's now the head coach at Coastal Carolina. So there's a little bit of shakeup there from an offense standpoint. But if anything, that, these Power 5 schools, they have the means and the resources to go get the people that they want to hire for the most part. Now, I can't say, I don't know who they brought in. I don't care about that much, but I'm just saying that's going to be the toughest game. But going down and getting a win in Raleigh would be massive. If Marshall's 5-0 with wins over NC State and Virginia Tech on their resume, it doesn't matter what you're looking at, what poll you're looking at. You can't deny what the Herd is doing at that point. Other people might do it. And I'm not saying we're not going to trip up somewhere along the way, but I'm saying like if Marshall's 5-0 and they've beaten North Carolina State on the road and Virginia Tech at home, people are going to be paying attention.
And
That's just the short and sweet
especially
of it.
if you handle those in a way like how we beat Notre Dame last year, it wasn't on any kind of a fluke. We just outplayed them
Yeah.
all game long. If we
Yeah.
did that at Raleigh and we handled our business as we should versus Virginia Tech, who I think right now there's a reason that ESPN likes us a lot better
Yeah.
than Virginia Tech coming here because again, it's not the Virginia Tech of the '90s and the 2000s. We're a better program than them right now, in my opinion.
Well, they're
So
not even the best program in their own state, man.
sure,
They're the
yeah,
best program in their state is in our conference.
yeah,
So, a little pub. I also like what you're talking about, like the wild card of going to Atlanta. That might be the thing. But remember, Georgia State lost a few weapons on offense. Jamari Thrash transferred out, and he torched us at home last year. And if not for a breakout run by Labor in there to go 83 yards, that one kind of busted it open for the Herd and gave them a little bit of mo and, kind of got things rolling. But who knows what they're going to look like? I'm sure they've got some players that they're really excited about, but Jamari Thrash was a true weapon, and now he's not on their roster anymore. They will have Granger returning, so as long as he's still healthy by the time we lock horns, and he's a really good quarterback. He'll be a senior now. He's Fancher's very much in that mold. They're true dual threat quarterbacks, and Fancher outplayed him last year. So we'll see how it goes, but it's not one you can just gloss over. James Madison for me is a one I'm really looking forward to. That's
yeah,
a great midweek matchup, man. The Marshall James Madison, this rivalry that's building with James Madison, I think is pretty awesome. I think
yeah.
both fan bases are really behind it, and they really like it. There've been that one football game, but even the basketball games were competitive. And we hosted the tailgate at the softball series. That was really great. I think this
Yeah.
is a great team to just circle and go, you know what, this could be a lot of fun in the coming years.
Yeah, and for anybody that their only experience with JMU fans might be on message boards or on social media or something like that, because I see that all the time. It's like, I don't like fan base X because they are bragging on social media. Well, that's what a lot of people do on social media.
We're fans.
I can tell you that from going down there last year, one of their fans reached out to me knowing that I was going to be there, hosted me, red carpet treatment. The other fans that were there, they friended me on Facebook. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they were like, hey, we can't wait to get up to Marshall. Very respectful of our program. The connection with Mickey Matthews going there to be their head coach from being our defensive coordinator. They had a very similar rise in FCS when what used to be 1AA for us. Very very similar programs. They've got a lot of money in their athletic budget. They're a sleeping giant, and they're already doing well. They don't do it in just one sport. You look and they have success across the board. This is going to be a fun rivalry with them, and I think it'll be a friendly rivalry. It's
Yeah.
4.5 hours max, I think, drive down. Um, really looking forward to that. Hoping some of the people that hosted us down at JMU make the trip over so I can return the favor on the hospitality.
Yeah, I would agree. Let's cut the schedule to the final. What is that? 5 games, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do that. So that you're on the road against Coastal, you're on the road against App, then you're home for 75 week against Georgia Southern, you're on the road again at South Al, and then you close it out in the regular season against Arkansas State. So just we'll talk our way through that one real quick.
I already said 3 brutal road games there. The 2 home games are favorable for us, but the 3 road games is going to be a tough mountain to climb 3 and 4 weeks. Um, we've talked about it before, but just traveling anywhere is different than being at home. You know what you're going to prep for. You know what your locker room's like. How often have we talked to people that say they have the same routine, not just in football, but softball and volleyball. They have the same routine. It's very regimented that they do the same things at the same time. You go somewhere else, you might not be able to stick to that because you have to enter on the field at different times. It's just different. So going on the road is always a problem. Not a major problem, but it's just different than playing at home. You have the fan base here at home. That's why we say go and make a difference being at home. Having those three teams that we had to play is going to be difficult.
Yeah, that's going to be a rough stretch. Georgia Southern's also going to be a new look team, right? They're going to be breaking in a new quarterback. Van Treese is now gone, but they're still going to be that, more of a pass happy offense. The old Georgia Southern offense that was run, 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 and run some more is not existent in this era right now. The Clay Helton era with Brian Ellis at offensive coordinator is a pass happy offense. And if that name is familiar to you guys, it should be, because Brian Ellis was on staff at Western Kentucky. So he's very much the air raid type mindset, right? So that's why there's a big change there. And yeah, we went down to Statesboro last year and we got them,
Yeah.
and our defense was played pretty lights out in that game. And they, did not allow this massive passing output and all these points to go up on the board. And I bet you they're a little salty about that,
Sure.
because you bring a historic old Southern Conference rival back to your hometown for the first time in decades, right? And you're not able to get it done. I bet that's a little salty, rather than just somebody like, no offense to Old Dominion, but Old Dominion or James Madison, it's just not the same flavor, right? So they're going to come in looking to ruin 75 week. They are, but we all know, like App State knows, you don't expect to win. You don't just march into Joan C. Edwards Stadium on 75 week and expect to win. It just doesn't happen. Wild things happen. We saw a blocked punt, in the end zone last year. It's just those wild plays. So it's always intriguing to see what will pop up during 75 week. But the 2-game stretch at Coastal, at Appalachian State, those are two rough ones, because those are two teams that in some publications Marshall's looking up at in the preseason standings, and in some publications both of those teams are looking up at Marshall. So there's your gauntlet. And do we all go, do we all beat each other, and then whoever's left standing with only minimal bumps and bruises comes out of the East? I mean, these games are going to be brutal in late October and early November. And I bet you that's exactly what the Sun Belt wanted. These brutal, season defining games in November. South Alabama is going to be tough, man. They are. It looks like a 2-team race right now. Troy and South Alabama out of the West. You can never discount Louisiana to make some noise. Southern Miss is probably going to be much improved. So they're considered by many to be a quote unquote dark horse contender, whatever the hell that means.
Well, look at Texas State too. They brought in
A lot of hype.
New coach, very large. I think it was offensive line. They had the biggest offensive, may have been defensive line, but whatever it was, they were head and shoulders in literally in height and weight compared to everybody else in the Sun Belt. So
yeah,
got a lot of different. We talk about it all the time. Until the games are played early, you don't really know what the 2023 team is going to look like versus the 2022 team.
Right. We can speculate all we want, and we're going to, because that's what it's fun to do.
Yeah.
But you still got to line them up and play them. If all I had to do was pencil a W or an L, we'd go undefeated every year. And that's not how it is. So Saturday, December 2nd will be the Sun Belt Championship game for whoever is in it. And it'll be site to be determined based on who's got the best record coming out of the East or the West. And then, of course, bowl game to be determined if we qualify. Russ, let's talk about your floor and my floor and ceiling for these teams, and then we'll get into our true predictions.
As I talk about my floor and ceiling, I just want to mention that the ESPN predictor, the FPI, has the herd as 9 favorites out of the 12 and 3 to where we are not favored. Those 3 are NC State on the road. It is ECU on the road first, then NC State on the road, and then App State on the road. We are favored in every other game.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I technically, we're an underdog in the ECU game, but them being a 52% to our 48, and they're at home, that is as much of a coin flip as you can get, and almost the inverse. So if that game were flipped the other way, I bet you it wouldn't be 52 to 48 in our favor, is what
it's exactly the same with App State. It's exactly 52% to 48% App State. They like NC State a lot better,
Sure.
ESPN has the P5 bias, even though, again, I hate that term, but we
Yeah.
know they do. It doesn't matter. They could put us up against the whatever they consider the worst P5 in America, and they would probably say, no, if they beat them, that'd be an upset, you know?
Yeah, of course, of course.
So, uh, having said that, I think that my floor is 8-4, and I don't think that we'll go 8-4. That's why I think it's a floor. I don't see us going 7-5. I will say that I read a lot over the past couple of days, and there were a lot of different places that had the betting line at 7.5 wins for the over under,
Hmm.
and a lot of places were like, I just can't see him. I see him going 7-5. You got to keep in mind these are people that are going for 120 some, 130 some schools. They're not going to be able to follow every single program, who came in on the transfer portal, what kind of impact they're going to have, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of national publications that are not. I mean, imagine right now if I tried to do, I don't know, Iowa State, I wouldn't know what to predict about Iowa State. I don't follow Iowa State.
Right.
So if you're reading anything about these where you see, well, they'll be lucky to go 6-6, uh, these are not even 10,000-foot views. Read the articles about what they say. One of them said, and this is no offense to Colin Parachek, but they mentioned that as a big transfer that we got in uh, in the football position group. They didn't mention T.J. McMahon. Parachek's probably not going to be in the top two. He's probably not going to be in the top three. So I can't see us going 7-5. I can't see us going 6-6. I see the floor is 8-4, and I would be more bullish on going 9-3 as the floor instead of 7-5. If that tells you how I'm leaning, eight and
Yeah.
four is my floor.
Well, my floor actually is 7-5 because you just never know what that gauntlet there in late October and November is going to be. That to me is really going to determine a lot, and we'll expound on that in a little bit. If you also happen to make a bowl game and you lose, then your absolute floor is 7-6. Still a winning season, but that's a regression overall from last year. We've seen 7 wins in year 1, 9 wins in year 2 for Coach Huff. Now we're looking to raise to that 10-win plateau, 11 or more, right? But the absolute floor to me, all encompassing in the regular season, is 7-5. With a bowl loss is 7-6. So, you have to think worst case scenario. I mean, I guess technically your floor is 0-12, but we ain't going 0-12, right? Because it can't get any lower than 0 wins. But I can. There's parts of me that can see 7-5. I just don't think it's gonna happen. But that's the absolute floor to me. Where's your
Yeah,
ceiling?
my ceiling's actually 11-1. And I'm not penciling any one game being that loss. I'm not saying we'll run the table except for NC State on the road. I'm not saying that at all. Um, in fact, it'll probably depend on how we perform the first few weeks and how NC State performs the first few weeks
Mhm.
before I say, yeah, that one's a win or that one's a loss. That's how I handle it every year. But I think my ceiling is 11-1 going into the conference championship game because it is so difficult to go undefeated. I think that we have the potential to do so. We can handle our business and go undefeated, but it is so hard. There are, I mean, very few teams every year that does that. And I think that, you get bad weather, you get bad overall play, a bouncing ball doesn't go your way. Maybe it's an official's call that's controversial. You just run into somebody that is playing better than you that week.
Mhm.
You got injuries. Anything can happen. But I think that we have the potential to go 11-1 with this schedule that is a very hard schedule.
Well, I'm a little bit more reserved, I think. I've got our ceiling, and this is including postseason for me, at 11-3 overall, 6-2 in the conference. But I do think the in with that is capturing a Sun Belt championship and a bowl win. That's what I feel like. So 11-3 in 14 games with those two big time things at the end of the season, a championship and a bowl win. I don't think people are going to lose too much sleep over those three,
I would
those three
take it.
losses.
I would take it in a heartbeat. I really
Yeah.
would.
Yeah. So I like us to be maybe one, because there's always the one that slips away, man. There's
That's right.
always the freaking one that slips away.
Yep.
And I will tell you this. I don't think Marshall loses a game at home this season. Let me put it that way. So you can deduce, for yourself where you think that maybe my losses come from, but I think we go 6-0 at home this year. Um, it's time that that's happened again.
Yeah.
There was a time where you didn't come to Joan C. Edwards Stadium and opposing teams just didn't win. They
Yeah.
didn't, and it's time to protect our home again. There's so much going on, that it's going to be more of the atmosphere and the vibe of those 90s. No bleachers, or very small amount, a reduced amount of bleachers in the end zone. And, we expect the capacities to be louder, even if the overall number isn't greater. The volume level is going to be louder. The experience is going to be better. I think fans are going to be more engaged. The brand of football is going to be more exciting from a offensive standpoint, equally, if not a little bit more stifling from the defensive standpoint. Fans are just going to have a lot to be excited about, like game in and game out. And that's not just like, well, I'm really excited to see. No, if you're there, you're going to have the opportunity to be excited, and your emotions will start pumping up, and you want to yell and stand up and clap and cheer and yell, because this is going to remind a lot of folks of the style of herd football that they remembered and they loved. And we were pretty good last year. Let's not forget that. It's not like this is a reimagining of herd football. No, it's just notching it up to another level. So give me 11-3 best case scenario, I guess. It could be a little bit better, but that's my ceiling. No, I'm sorry. That was my prediction. My ceiling is 12-2, 7-1 in conference. Anyway, since I gave away my prediction, what is your prediction?
My prediction is more around 10-2 for the regular season. I didn't get into Sun Belt Conference. I expect to win the Sun Belt Conference.
Yeah.
Bowl game, I guess it would just depend on what bowl that we get.
Right.
Right. So I didn't really have a prediction on that, but give me 10-2 for my actual prediction. Give me that one of those we will have something where we should have won or could have won, and then the other one we just flat out lose. It happens. I'm going to hate it. I'm going to not want to talk to anybody, like we always talk. But
Yeah.
we're going to win. We're going to win one that we should or could, if one or two things went our way differently, which we had a couple of those last year, 3 in fact, and then one of them we're just going to lose.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what one it is. It's just as an overhead view. That's the way it usually goes. And again, how many teams win 10 games or 11 games? It's so difficult to do.
Well, hell, I mean, being able to do that in this conference now is going to be exceedingly hard.
And this schedule. I mean, we don't have the hardest schedule that it could have been, because we could have had Troy in South Alabama, or Southern Miss in South Alabama, or something like that, Louisiana and South Alabama. But our away schedule is difficult, and our home schedule, we're bringing Virginia Tech here, and it's going to be tough, man.
Yeah, I got to take it a little bit step further, right? And I've just got to flat out say, I think we're going into Conway, South Carolina, and we are going to dominate a game against Coastal, because they jumped on us early and then they couldn't do anything for the last 3 quarters. And I feel like that the Sun Belt Conference has kind of set up, their golden boy to have a special season and to make all this noise. And I feel like Owen Porter and Eli Neal and Abraham and the rest of that defense is just going to go in there and go, you know what? You got us in the first quarter last year, and we're going to make sure that you have the most miserable game of your life in late October. And they gave them a fairly favorable crossover schedule. They get Texas State, who is maybe improved. Maybe it doesn't work, but we don't know. And they get Arkansas State. So in their non-con, they're playing Army, who was a 6-6 team last year. They got first-year Conference USA team Jacksonville State, who was 9-2 last year in the FCS, but they got boat raced by Tulsa, I believe. And for those of you that aren't paying attention to Jacksonville State, their head coach is Rich Rod. So that'll be another storyline to follow. And then their other out of conference game is Duquesne. Duquesne, a 4-7 FCS team last year. So Coastal's absolutely not playing something very rough, and it looks like they're trying to get set up here to, make a run in the Sun Belt, and Grayson McCall, this or that and the other and whatever. I just think the Herd's coming into Conway and going to get another win on their field. So I don't know what it is. I really want to get them because I know we could have had them last year. Maybe we only given up 14 in the first quarter, not 21. Maybe that game plays out totally differently and we still end up winning that game. But I just like I like our chances in that one. But I like your 10-2 prediction. I think we're both very, very high on winning the Sun Belt this year. I mean, it's almost a championship or bust mentality right at this point, because we've been trending 7, 9. Now it looks like, well, the natural progression should be 11.
Let's call back to our position group for the quarterback, because I feel like just about everybody making these predictions, if we had a better situation from quarterback last year coming into this year, and I don't mean Cam Fancher in particular, I mean that we had to switch quarterbacks mid-season. And that we don't have somebody putting up the 3,000 yard, like Van Treese and stuff like that. So if we had something better than that, I think that we are the darling of the Sun Belt Conference in their eyes. I still think that we are. I still think that it is ours to lose this year. But I'm talking about the people that don't cover Marshall and only Marshall. And they're looking at that and they're just like, quarterback could be iffy, because that's what they say. And so they're like, well, they're not going to beat Grayson McCall. Look, he's Grayson McCall, Screw Grayson McCall.
But I feel like next season, after this golden child of theirs is gone, they'll have to be a little bit more level, a little bit more even keeled about who they're positive about, because they've got this. Well, he's 3-time Sun Belt Player of the Year. He wasn't Player of the Year last year, guys. He wasn't. He missed time. He missed games. He was not.
He wasn't the best quarterback.
Right. We could pick a number of. Laburn had a better year. He meant more to his team, I think, than Greg McCall meant to his team last year. Right. So he put up great numbers. The touchdown to interception ratio was really great for him. I'm not trying to take anything away. I just like it. I'm not wowed. Like he didn't wow me. It was a one good quarter that they put together early against Marshall, and that was it.
I tell you, my quarterback of the year last year was Todd Centeio of JMU. He was much better,
and he was newcomer of the year.
And you saw as soon as he was out versus us, we won that game, and that's what my prediction last year. I had predicted us to lose because the momentum was on their side and not ours, and I expected to go against Centeio. It wasn't until kickoff, really, right before, that we knew that he wasn't even playing. So I think that McCall has been gifted those awards. I don't think that he's a horrible player by any means. I just don't think that he's as good as what everyone is anointing him as.
And let's not forget, his head coach is now gone. His system is now gone that he has thrived in for 3 years. And it's a new, offensive mind at the helm in Tim Beck from NC State. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Russ, let me ask you one question, and then we'll get through this segment here. In your opinion, where is the season for Marshall either won or lost?
It's the conference slate. You lose to NC State, really, who cares? So I think that those 3 out of 4 games that are on the road that I've talked about multiple times, I think that is the deal, because we definitely want to win our conference. We definitely want to win those games. We come out bad in those 3 games, I think that just tanks the season, because I do think that it's Sun Belt Conference title or bust. And I think that would make it extremely difficult to win or even play in the Sun Belt Conference championship game if you lose 2 of those games, especially if it's the 2 from the East.
Yeah, that's a good point, right? And of course, yes, The Sun Belt Conference slate is, of course, where the season is won or lost. But you kind of narrowed it down there a little later there at the end, where these particular stretch of games are really where the season is won or lost,
Well,
right?
that's what I meant. Those 3 games in
Yeah.
that 4-week schedule, that is where it is.
Okay, so for me, it's a little bit wider of a gap. It's that 1 month span between October 19th and November 18th, right? It's 5 games. And let me give you the bullet points on what that is. It's 3 tough road games, like you mentioned: Coastal Carolina, at App, and at South Alabama. The stretch of those games starts on a Thursday night short week against James Madison at home. It also encompasses 2 old Southern Conference rivals in Appalachian State and Georgia Southern, who will host for 75 week. Both of those teams want revenge against the Herd last year because we were able to get a win against both of those teams last year. And it encompasses the budding rivalry with James Madison and Coastal, who we owe one to, basically. So you top it all off, like I mentioned before, and 75 week is encompassed in there. So that 5-game stretch is really vital for the Herd. You've got 3 on the road and 2 at home. And, if Marshall goes 5-0 in those games, then they're a 1-2 loss team, depending on who the bowl game is and the matchup, right? That's basically what it is. If the Herd goes 1-4 in that stretch, Marshall's probably a 7-5 team. That's the floor. So if you go 3-2, that puts them right in my and your prediction at a 10-2/11-3 type team. So put big circles around, October 19th through November 18th. That 5-game stretch for me is the season in a nutshell. And you're right. What if Marshall goes 0-4 in the out of conference and then then they catch fire and they run through the conference slate and they win the Sun Belt Conference? Is anybody really going to be griping about losing to Albany in week 1 if you're hoisting a Sun Belt championship trophy and getting a bowl win? It ain't going to feel good, but you ain't going to dwell on it.
Well, I will dwell on it if we
I
lose to
won't dwell
Albany.
on it. It's all about hoisting the championship.
I still talk about the was it New Hampshire?
New Hampshire.
Yeah. So yeah, I will dwell on it. Trust me. I don't care if we go 11-1 and somehow they say, "Hey, we're going to put them in a New Year's Six bowl." I'm going to dwell on losing to Albany at home.
I ain't gonna do that because I'd be trying to figure out how I could get to whatever new NY6 bowl that we're in. Albany would be a distant memory to me. So last year we both kind of nailed our predictions, and we were right. We both said like that 9-3, type thing, and that's what we ended up with, 9 wins. Both of us like us to get to that 10-win, or me slightly above that 10-win plateau, that 10-win mark, which is oh so important that you just want to be able to say you got. So we'll see how close we get this year. If you got anything else about your season prediction, let me have it. Otherwise, let's start to take it around the Herd.
Now let's go around the Herd and let's talk about first women's soccer. 2 games, 2 wins. 2-0 on the season for the first time since 2011. We mentioned that Coach Michael Swan, with those 2 victories, now has 150 career wins in games. We got Morehead State 3-0 on the road on Thursday. It was scoreless at the half. And then Bailey Fisher, let me get these names right here. We got Bailey Fisher, Alyssa Harden, and Ada Claire Tempert after halftime all got goals. And the real showstopper, Alexis Wolgamuth, I hope that I'm saying that correctly, said absorbed 10 shots, including a pair of consecutive saves in the 60th minute. Vastly improved over last year by all accounts, and she was also a good star in the game that we're going to talk about now. Bailey Fisher came through again. They had a red card that put High Point down, 1 player, and on the free kick, Bailey Fisher gets the only goal of the game. Wolgamuth dominated in the box again, and we're 2-0.
Yeah, out of the gate running, man. Herd Athletics is 2-0 on the season. Who's going to be the first one, right? Like we're off and running, right? The Herd is rolling. And this is great, man. 2-0 for the first time, would you say, since 2011? I mean,
2011.
Dang.
And now these were not, if you don't follow women's soccer and nationally, I don't think any of us can say that we do to know what team is good, what team's not. But I looked on these teams, and these two teams are supposed to be very good, above average teams in their conferences, respectively. So to shut both of them out, one of them on the road, I think is pretty impressive on the year. We just need to keep taking it one game at a time. And that next game is on Thursday at 6 p.m., which we can watch on ESPN Plus.
Awesome. Remember that we give tickets away to all of our home matches at the Vet. We gave a couple away for the game against High Point, and we'll continue to do that all season long. Most of the time, all you have to do is either like or retweet the post that I put on Twitter. We're probably going to move into doing some giveaways on Instagram this year as well. And Russ, from time to time, will also post the stuff on Facebook. So we make it really easy for you to get a hold of our tickets. And all we ask in return is snap a picture of yourself at the game and tag us on social media so that other fans can actually see that people are getting these tickets and going to the games. That's really all we ask.
Our winner of the High Point tickets was from Facebook this time. So,
awesome.
We do all of our social media, and it's just kind of a coin flip or actually a pull out of a random drawing selector to see who wins.
Yep.
That game on Thursday at Indiana State, again, 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus, and that is something that you can watch while you are tailgating for what we're about to talk about now. Men's soccer has their season opener versus Oakland at home on Thursday at 7 p.m. We will be giving those tickets away. We will probably make that post either later today, Tuesday, something like that. We'll have the drawing on Wednesday, probably, so you can make sure that you can go to the game. KD will have that up on Twitter at some point. I'll have it up on Facebook, and we may have it over on Instagram as well. No matter what, check all three. They also will be hosting Wright State on Monday, August the 28th at 7:15. So first two games of the year, two good opportunities to get down here and watch this team.
Yep. Let me talk about real quick about how we do our giveaways. And I mentioned that we're going to post it on social media. All you got to do is either, comment or like or retweet or whatever. But when we pick someone, we're going to contact you and we're going to give you maybe like 30 minutes or so to get back to us. Maybe if it's in a crunch, it's going to be less time because it's important for us to find people that can actually go to the games. So if you happen to win and then we message you and say you won, and then it's like 5 hours later and then you're like, oh, I didn't see this. Yeah, I can go. You're probably not going to have an opportunity to get those tickets because we didn't know if you could go or not. So we want to, the whole purpose is not to give tickets away. It's to get butts in the seats. So if you're going to enter our giveaways, please do. Just make sure you can go to the game. And if you can't go to the game, then we're going to give you a little bit of time to answer. If you don't answer, we're going to pick somebody else because it's important to us that we get fans at the games. That's it. That's how it's going to work.
And a little housekeeping. This only happened one time last year. I think that it's very, very rare that this would happen. But just so everyone's clear, we don't just randomly pick someone that messages us and say they really want to go to the game because everyone really wants to go to the game.
Sure.
And it's the random drawing. So don't get mad if you don't win. I mean, we have 2 and now 3 different social media contests going for one win. Sometimes with football, we'll break those tickets up because we have 4 and we'll do 2 winners and 2 sets of 2 instead of 1 set of 4. But do not get mad if you don't win. It's not that we are intentionally picking someone. If it was, we'd give them to somebody the same time every week. We don't do that. It is random. You can tell by the photos that the people give them, and it's not the same people every time. So it's as random as can be. There are no favorites.
Also, sometimes fans hit us up and go, hey, I can't go to the game. Would you give my tickets away? So if you don't win, just keep entering. You might not win all season long, but you're not out anything because it's free, so don't get upset. We try to be as fair as we can. We're just randomly picking things, but we also want asses in seats. So if you win and you don't reply, sorry, man, you got to, check if there's a giveaway, you should be checking and see. So anyway, what's next?
Volleyball. We have a road trip to start the season. this Friday, August 25th, we'll be playing the Citadel at 10 a.m. and then Bethune Cookman at 1:30 p.m. I didn't think that it said it on there, but I assume both of these will be on ESPN Plus. We have a very good history of just about every single volleyball game being on there, but
Mhm.
we will, of course, tweet that out. Then the very next day, we play Bethune Cookman again at 1:30 p.m. I'm sorry, at noon. Um, we also picked up a commitment from Emma Sayer for volleyball.
Yep, from West Portsmouth, Ohio. She's a libero, class of 2024. I'm looking on the volleyball page right now, Russ, and I'm not sure if this is going to be on ESPN Plus. And I say this because it's being hosted by Bethune Cookman. So, if that's not an ESPN school, well, they're probably not going to be broadcasting it. But
They have football games
yeah,
on there because I've watched their program before.
I'm
So
just saying it's not. It
yeah,
doesn't say there's the logo's not on here.
yeah,
So I don't know if it is or not. But of course the whole tournament is going to be down here closer to my neck of the woods in Daytona Beach. So a little fun in the sun for the gals up at Bethune Cookman coming down to my neck of the woods. So good luck. Hit it running. Ari was great when we had her on the podcast. She's got a lot of excitement, and she's talking about how this team is really different. It's a good different. We hear that a lot. So a great opportunity to showcase the new look herd and their new look threads
they
coming
look
up
great.
next week. They do look great. So what's on the agenda? What's next?
All right, football, and this is all I have unless you have anything else. But they took their yearly trip to the Spring Hill Cemetery, as they do every year, and went to the grave marker and memorial for the 6 unidentified crash victims. Uh, saw retired Coach Mark Gale up there
Mm-hmm.
giving another talk. Um, Lots of different people up there. Red Dawson, of course, and his wife were up there. President Smith, athletic director Christian Spears. Uh, just a one of those things that you expect every year, but every year that you see it, I don't know how you are, but I get a little bit of chills and everything, and just kind of reflect on that horrific past, but also the fact that we rose from the ashes afterwards.
Well, let me tell you what this says to me. Number one, this was a tradition that was started before Huff, and that
Mm-hmm.
he's decided to continue that speaks a lot about him, right? That's one of those things that he could have just been like, all right, we're not doing that anymore. And he always says we do this the last Sunday of camp.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they know when it's going to happen. Having Coach Mark Gale up there to deliver an address to the team, there's probably no one better when you couple him with Rev Steve Harvey, right?
Yeah.
Those two guys, I mean, there's no better choice, right? But what this says to me is for a lot of the youngsters and newcomers to the program, and we've heard Huff talk about this. Some have heard about the movie, some have actually seen the movie, some haven't. So what this does is drive home the fact that this is a real thing, and this is real to a lot of people on a different level than just a Hollywood movie,
Yeah.
right? I didn't play football at Marshall. I wasn't an athlete at Marshall, and it doesn't really matter because if you are a son or daughter of Marshall, it becomes part of the fabric of who you are, and you just care, right? So, opening the eyes of and enlightening the newcomers to our program, it's important, and when you think about that, you think, you know what, these were guys that were their age in 1970.
Yeah.
Like, that's them, like that's
Yeah.
so that puts it in a whole different perspective. If like I'm a 18, 19, 20, 21-year old guy, I'm like, oh, okay, like this is people that were in the prime of their life like me right now, and it was all just cut short for them. So there's an appreciation and hopefully a little bit of reflection on several levels, not just from a Marshall standpoint or a football standpoint or what this means to the community standpoint, but hopefully it puts in perspective for your own personal life a little bit. Like, wow, these were young guys with their whole lives ahead of them. So I just absolutely love that this continues to go on. And when I make my trip to Huntington, if I'm only able to come up one time this year, we'll go to you and I will go to Spring Hill Cemetery. We always do, because it's just important, and it feels good, and to reconnect with the city, of reconnect with the community and the program in a different way, right? So I was really glad to see that, and I hope it continues, like, for the next forever, right?
Yeah.
Whoever the coach is, that's got to continue, and it's just so important. So great way to close out Around the Herd. If you got any other words this week, let me have them. Otherwise, take us out of here.
Yeah, I want to mention how much we love our sponsors. We talk about it all the time, but
Yep.
we have ThunderCast Live powered by Ignite Link that is going to be back this year. And what could we do without Ignite Link? Not nearly as much. Uh, you know, our tailgate show idea was basically the equivalent of me holding a camera phone and saying, "Hey, we're over here at the tailgate and all that." Just would not have been near as slick as what Ignite Link does. And Jed Horton will tell you that's not what he does, but he does it so well.
Mm-hmm.
So some love back to our wonderful partners at Ignite Link, and also that we wouldn't be where we're at without a 304carwreck.com, the law office of Leisure Oliver PLLC. They have been with us since before day one and allowing all this to happen. So, you guys know how much we love our sponsors and how much they've done for us. I want to say that we've been talking to several different people about sponsoring the tailgates for TC Live, ThunderCast Live, powered by Ignite Link. And we have one of those locked down. It's the October 19th game, the Thursday night game at JMU. We'll talk more when it comes time about who that is. But we've got these others that haven't locked in yet. So if you want to sponsor one of these tailgates and get a very, very, very unique sponsorship opportunity to reach a lot of different people in person and a video forever, hit us up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we mentioned this before. It's a great way to provide an outing for your employees, to have a nice casual place to land for some of your clients. Just invite them over and have a great time. We're basically lending our tailgate spaces, right? Like the tailgate kind of is what you want to make of it, but we will give you an opportunity to partner with us for utilizing our spaces. And we'll, involve you in the ThunderCast live broadcast, and we'll give you an opportunity to talk to potential customers and potential clients in the area, because it's all about building a network of trusted businesses for herd fans that they know, hey, I had this happen, so I know I can call A, B, C, business because I had this happen. And I have to take a second and say thanks to 304 Car Wreck at Leisure Oliver. Those guys have been really great for us. And if you ever have, the need for legal services, car wrecks, truck wreck, anything like that, they should be your first call. As far as Ignite Link goes, you've heard Jed say it a lot. If you've got small, medium, or even a large scale business and you have the need for IT services, give them a call. If you are a small business and you can't afford to hire an IT department, Ignite Link is your IT department, right? I'm sure they have goods and services and packages available that will fit your business's needs. And let me tell you, man, they're really great at what they do. And they're herd fans, they're herd alums, they really care. And, they believe in us and believe the messaging that we're giving out, so much so that Jed puts aside a lot of his free time to produce ThunderCast Live. He's produced other events for us, where like the cornhole tournament, where we were there last spring. He was broadcasting and, putting on the production for us to be able to broadcast. And he even joined us at the table for a while and had a great time. So you got to help these folks out. The links to their pages are in the description to all of our episodes. If you have a need for their services, we make it really easy to get in contact with them. And the last thing I'll say about that is, Russ, the athletic year is cranked up, which means the Around the Herd segment is going to be bigger and better than during the off season. And that provides a really great opportunity for another business to get involved with the ThunderCast and sponsor Around the Herd, so that you can get your name out every week. Around the Herd brought to you by insert company name here, so that you too can try to build your business on a local level. Russ, that's all I got. If you got nothing else, take us out of here.
Yeah, just really want to talk about that Around the Herd segment. It could be KD's construction company takes you around the herd, or it could be Around the Herd brought to you by, just like what you said. So plenty of opportunities. Guys, this is what makes our show free to everyone, but also allows us to give tickets away, send people to bowl games like we did last year, give away gear that we did last year, free tailgates, all the different things. It's all thanks to our sponsors, and we have had a pretty good success rate for people doing sponsorships with us and us getting them business in return.
Yep.
All right. So whether you see us at the Joan, whether you see us at the Dot, or whether you see us tailgating in the C Lot coming up in less than 2 weeks, no matter where you see us, we're going to be saying, go Herd.
Go Herd. It's the ThunderCast. Next week, Russ, it's a week 1 preview. Can you believe it? We'll see you next week. Later.